I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, so it's good to
Okay.
meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Well, I'm looking forward, my bread and butter by day is doing jazz radio, so I'm always interested in music. I'm looking forward to getting into this app that you've developed and your love of music. So thank
Mhm.
you for taking a minute out. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. So before we begin, 4 years
Hmm.
ago we were trying to figure out this pandemic. When are we going to
Yeah.
get out of it? All the ramifications. How did you ultimately survive that time period, and how did it change the way that you do things now?
Uh, hasn't changed much because I've been working from home since 2014. So for me, it wasn't any change. The only thing the major change that we did is we moved out of the suburb into a rural area, got
Okay.
our own farm, and we're attempting to get that going as well,
Okay.
alongside all the online stuff. Um, but yeah, pretty much just had to, go through it like everybody else.
So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis right now in 2024. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of grade school kids, third graders. It's career day. And one of the kids says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do you answer them?
So I actually do that because I have four kids and I have gone to their career days. Um, and honestly, it's kind of hard to explain. So I just take some visual aids with me. Like I have a Kaldani plate and I'll show them how frequencies transform like rice grains or sand. I'll take a plasma ball and show them how, you can touch and see how the frequencies move and interact with your hands. Or a sound visualizer. And I just have them split them up into two groups. You guys, group A, now you yell, now group B yell, and they can visually see like the visuals react in real time to their audio. So I'm more about the experience and showing people um, how this stuff works rather than try to bore them with technicalities.
So essentially, HZP is kind of a visualizing, it's like a visual music app.
It includes a visualizer, yes. So a
Yes.
Cycle, it started before the pandemic, started working on Cycle, which is a music visualization app that visualizes live music. So there's a lot of audio visuals or audio visualizers out there, but typically you'd either have to upload your song and just wait for it to render, or you'd have to find like the VJs work with pre-recorded video that doesn't necessarily react to the audio. And what I wanted to make is something that reacts to the music that I'm listening to as I'm listening to it. So we started working on this platform, that's Cycle, which is used by DJs and VJs and artists and whatnot, worldwide in different settings. So whether it's they're making a music video, then they upload it, or they visualize live music at a venue, so at a party or an event. They use it for those two things. Then a year later, during the pandemic, I started getting exposed to information about sound healing and frequencies, and particularly also the solfeggio frequencies. And I thought, hey, that's interesting. What if, I know that audio and in particular frequencies have the power to really damage, to create, harmful things. If you look at opera singers that are able to shatter glass just with a high tone pitch, it dawned on me that if audio and certain frequencies can be used to annoy or harm us, there must be the opposite of that, that there are frequencies that are used to heal us or improve our well-being. Um, so I kind of dove that rabbit hole and I started looking for music that was tuned to these frequencies. All I could find was meditation music or like pure tones. And I have a background. My background in music is I used to be a DJ back in the when I was a teen. And I still have a huge collection of music, over 1,000 CDs, some records, and also about 100 gigabytes worth of music on my hard drive. was like, well, I want to, what if I could retune my own music instead of being, confined to what's available on YouTube and Spotify? So I started looking for easy and simple ways to retune my own music. And I couldn't find any one particular app that does all the frequencies for one, or that was not buggy or that was quick. So I decided just to make the app. That's how AZP came to life. And AZP stands for Hertz Player. So we manipulate the hertz. Um, so then once I saw that it was working, or that it worked well, I was like, okay, well, I have to make this for all the different platforms because my kids and my wife and I, we all use different things. So I had to make it for Android and then the iOS and Mac and Windows, and then integrate it into the cars and ultimately into TVs, um, because TVs are the most underutilized kind of media or devices for music, and people don't realize that about 30% of people listen to music through TVs simply because the boom boxes don't exist anymore. It's just your soundbar and your TV. So in our pitch perfect world, and very soon you'll be able to, we already have HCP for TV, but we're improving the visualizer so that you can select the music that you want, put it in the frequency that you want, and have it visualized in real time. And then you get kind of the Fantasia experience only on steroids
Yeah.
in real time, completely unique for every type of engagement that you have in any type of setting.
Yeah.
So it's kind of redefining how we engage with music. So instead of having to go um, to a show to enjoy an audiovisual experience, which each show has its own merits and you can't replicate, the energies of a crowd and all that. And that's a unique experience. But if you look at the amount of times that you've gone to a show in your life, most people don't go to more than a handful in a year,
Yeah.
but they're listening to music for hours every day.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of the promise that we're trying to fulfill is giving people the opportunity to take something that's inherently static at the moment. I mean, there's only the audio storytelling, and then pairing it with a really immersive visualizer that makes it like an audio-visual storytelling married together in a very unique and profound way.
That's fascinating. So when you were in the third grade, what did you want to be when you grew up? What was your dream?
Pilot. I wanted to be
Okay.
a fighter pilot. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually made it to the course, but then I realized I wasn't such a great soldier. It wasn't like that. There was a mismatch between wanting to fly, which is awesome and beautiful, and becoming a weapon of mass destruction. Well, it's not mass, but it could potentially be mass destruction.
For sure. So
So,
speaking of an audio visual concert that you had kind of talked about, what was the best one that you went to that really ignited your imagination and inspired you?
so the one that actually inspired me to create Cycle was I went to a show by Spangle, and it wasn't the whole team. It was just Simon came to do a DJ set in Denver, and he had a stage which I don't know how large the screens was, but it was like the entire screen, the entire stage was a screen, and he also had a screen in front of the DJ deck. Um, and the visuals were just so captivating. He also had aerial dancers and real dancers and like acrobats, and people were painting, on the floor and canvases. It was really, really artistic kind of environment. Um,
Wow.
but those visuals that they use, um, I don't remember if they were synced or not, but they were really, really awesome. And at that moment, it clicked that we have these great screens in our dispense, 4K, 8K screens are almost in everybody's home by now. But you look at all of the different music applications, the popular ones, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. At best, you'll get like the tile cover or the artist cover and maybe some lyrics. And that's the animation that you get when you listen
Yeah.
to music. You don't get like an entire audiovisual performance. And then I started looking at the statistics of like what um, what kind of shows people go to, and it blew me away that what I found was that in 2019, over 50% of all live performances, and that includes theater and sports and stand up and whatnot, over 50% of that was EDM, which if you simplify that, that's essentially a DJ and a light show.
Yeah.
It's like some sort of music and some sort of visual. And it makes a lot of sense because if you go like into the early days of tribalism, where people gathered around a bonfire and they used to dance with masks or without masks and sing, that's an audiovisual experience.
Yeah.
That's all it was. So we are very drawn to that kind of performance or that type of performance. And it makes sense that it's so common nowadays. What doesn't make sense to me is that it's not or not yet like the go-to experience for enjoying music, at least when
So,
you're at home.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. So who's been a hero for you? Who's been an inspiration for you in your life?
Wow. Um, it's a tough one. I don't have one particular hero. I have lots of different people that I draw inspiration from. I like to take really great attributes and success. Trying to, I'm lost at words here. But like really trying to draw and learn from lots of different people and their experience and not just go blindly behind one person. So there's a lot of them. Um, Too many to start telling.
So if you could meet one of these people that you find fascinating or that you look up to and spend some time with them, pick their brain, who would it be?
Oh, he's dead now, but Steve Jobs,
Okay.
I think beyond like the innovation, is just his way of thought was really interesting. I know a lot of people talk about Steve Jobs and how great he was as an innovator. I'm more inspired by his leadership, and what and how he was able to propel teams and stimulate them to create lots of different things instead of being the one that's, you know, conducting everything.
Yeah. So what's your motivation? What is it that gets you up every day to innovate, to create, and evolve as a human being?
Two things. One is the well-being of my children and my wife and taking care of my family. It's the most important thing. And the second one is I realized that it's not so much about the financial gains, it's more about creating something that affects and touches a lot of people. So to me, success is being able to produce a product or service that is used by as many people as I can possibly reach. That's that's the definition of success to me. And if you look at like the at all of the great innovators of the world, the compensation comes from how many people they were able to affect. And it's never like the financial motivation. It's more about like getting their technology used. So that's my motivation is making this available to as many people as humanly possible that actually want to use the service.
So of everything that you've done up to this point and created and evolved into, what are you the proudest of?
Probably 8ZP and Cycle. They truly are my passion projects. I'm really, I built them for myself and my family, and I enjoy them on a daily basis. So it's just awesome to see how the products evolve over time and get better and better. Um, and how the service also grows over time and the audience size grows over time without us doing a whole lot of marketing or advertising for it.
So being somebody that's on the cutting edge of technology and developing, what do you think is going to happen, say, in 10, 15 years from now? From for our experience as a consumer taking in music, how do you think that's going to change?
Wow. I think if you would have asked this at any other point in time, someone might have some sort of prediction that could possibly, have some validity to it. I simply don't know. This
Okay.
whole AI revolution is so freaking frightening,
Yeah.
um, more than people realize. I think, and I've seen a few people start talking about this, but the end result of like the day after AI takes over all of our jobs, what are people going to do? How
Yeah.
are they going to spend their time when there's no more necessity to go out and work? Like that identity, we're going to have a huge identity crisis from, purpose and meaning of life crisis. So I could only hope that music plays a role in people's well-being, and getting them, to enjoy it. Because historically, I think music, and audio is kind of the underlying force of all connectivity between humans and animals, and within one another. It's far more powerful than people realize. You can just take a look at a baby that doesn't even know how to crawl, and you play some nice music to them, and they'll start, moving around.
Yeah.
Or even if they can't stand, but they can just lean on something, they can start moving their butts and enjoying the tune. They can't even voice themselves, but they're already reacting to the music. Or you can hear music in other languages that you can't speak or don't even understand what the lyrics are. But if you like the tune, it makes sense to you. Um, it connects, and it's the greatest unifier on earth. So I could only hope that music continues to play a monumental role in our lives. Um, Having said that, I don't know what the landscape is going to look like.
Yeah.
I do believe that, there are many artists and producers that are already incorporating AI to make it faster and easier. Um, Not necessarily more original, unfortunately, but I don't know. It's a frightening future. It's kind of hard to. Hopefully, we'll all be here in
Yeah,
10,
for
15
sure.
years.
For sure.
But
So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, fans, everybody that gets your app, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
um, just your average Joe trying to make a small dent and making sure that he enjoys the process. Um, I don't think I'm any special in any way, shape, or form. The only thing that you could say that I'm special is that I actually that I try to take action, whereas other people might feel that they don't have the tools or the skills. The reality is none of us have the tools or the skills. We just need to push through it and find ways to overcome them. So I didn't write a single line of code in any of my apps because I don't know how to develop. But over the years, I've learned how to talk to developers in order to tell them this is what I think it should do. And this is kind of just try to figure out how to make it work,
Yeah,
and help them throughout. But um, so yeah, just average Joe that loves to troubleshoot and solve problems and
right on.
find interesting things to work on.
So if anyone wants to get the app, learn more about you, reach out, any of the good business, where do they go?
So cycle.com for the visualizer, atp.co for ATP. We also have solfeggiofrequencies.org with more information about the frequencies and the SFP app, which is a simplified version of ATP.
Excellent. This has been great, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for your story, for your time. It's fascinating.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Take care.